are finishing a new stock or bringing an old stock back to life, the complete TRU-OIL gun stock finish kit from Birchwood Casey has everything you need to bring out the beauty of your stock. Included in the kit is Birchwood Casey's walnut stain, TRU-OIL gun stock finish, and stock and sheen conditioner. The kit also includes the appropriate grits of sandpaper, fine steel wool, and service cloths. If you're starting with a new stock, you need to sand with the grain using a medium to coarse grit sandpaper and stepping down in grits of sandpaper until you've smoothed out all the imperfections. After you're done sanding, you need to wipe it down with a tack cloth to remove all dust particles. Now if you're starting with an old stock, like we are today, we're going to need to remove the original varnish using a varnish remover that you can get at your local hardware store, and just follow the manufacturer's instructions. After I've removed all the old varnish off the stock and let it dry, the next step is sanding. If your stock has checkering on it, you may want to mask it off with tape so you don't accidentally gouge it when you're sanding. When you start sanding, start using 120 grit sandpaper, then move to 180 grit, and finally 280. Then smooth it out with a fine steel wool polish. Now if the stock has some gouges in it, use the lightest sandpaper as possible to smooth out all the imperfections, but some deeper gouges may need a coarser grit sandpaper. Remember, always sand with the grain of the stock, and a sanding block may come in handy. After you're done sanding the stock, go ahead and wipe it down with a tack cloth to remove all dust particles. We're now ready to go ahead and stain the stock. Keep the checkering covered until the final application of oil. If you're using an old stock and like the color of it, go ahead and skip this step and move to the TRU-OIL application. A good way to test whether or not your stock needs to be stained, you can wet a section of it down with water, and it'll be a close representation of what the stock will look like if you just use the TRU-OIL application. Now the walnut stain can be used straight out of the bottle if you want a darker finish, or you can add some water to it for a lighter color. You may want to test this on a scrap piece of wood before applying it to your gun stock. Apply walnut stain with a clean, lint-free cloth or brush. If the stain appears darker than you like after you've applied it, simply sponge it with clear water. If it's too light, simply add more stain. After you've completely stained the stock, allow it to dry overnight. After the stain has dried on the stock overnight, you're now ready for the TRU-OIL application. To dispense TRU-OIL, poke a small hole in the foil cover. This will prevent skinning over. And use individual cups for each application of TRU-OIL. To apply TRU-OIL, use your fingertips only and apply it in a gliding motion over the stock. Now be careful not to use too much TRU-OIL on this first application to prevent buildups and runoffs. After you've completely covered the stock, allow it to dry for 24 hours. After the TRU-OIL has dried, we can now smooth out any rough spots with a light sandpaper followed by a tack cloth. For additional coats of TRU-OIL, repeat the process, but make sure to scuff and tack in between coats. For the final application of TRU-OIL, remove the masking on the checkering and apply TRU-OIL to the entire stock. If you want a better, rich gloss finish on your final application of TRU-OIL, use Birchwood Casey's TRU-OIL gun stock finish in the aerosol spray. First, shake the can, then hold it 6 to 8 inches away from the stock and apply in light, uniform coats. If needed, you can rub in TRU-OIL with your finger to better fill in the grain of the wood. Now, we'll let this dry for 48 to 72 hours. After the stock is dried, it's now ready to use. Or, if you like a more traditional hand-rubbed satin finish, you can use the stock sheen and conditioner. First, shake the bottle and apply it with a clean cloth, lightly polish until dry. After it's dry, buff it with a clean cloth and repeat the process if desired. Birchwood Casey's TRU-OIL gun stock finish kit and TRU-OIL aerosol spray gives your gun stock a beautiful finish while also protecting it. For more information on gun finishing products or other products from Birchwood Casey, go to birchwoodcasey.com.